Too naughty or too nice? You decide. Featuring Santa Corky and Joe Lewis.
I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too naughty, I'm too nice. Naughty, I'm too nice. I'm too nice.
I am very nice, but that doesn't mean I'm not incredibly naughty, if you know what I mean.
Everybody, welcome back. This is the Too Naughty, Too Nice podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Santa Corky, and we have the lovely Emily Fitzgerald in the house with us today. So, Emily, let's just get things started. I'm going to try to act like I don't know you or that I'm not a fan or that we don't have a close relationship professionally or that you aren't my favorite influencer to work and strategize with.
What's your name again?
Right? You know? So tell the audience a little bit about yourself, your journey as an influencer, and give us the Emily Fitzgerald elevator pitch before we deep dive into this conversation.
All right, I'll try to be brief because I'm bad at that. But so obviously I named Emily. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a comedic content creator, so I do a lot of sketches on pop culture things, particularly pop culture that's happening for younger people. So I'm not about to do a video on like Oppenheimer. I mean, I could, but that's not me. Like if teenagers and 12-year-olds are going to see it in movies or watch it on television, that's what I'm covering. As a creator, I started in 2020. Like everyone else, I was in school for musical theater, of course, the most lucrative career there is. And I had to leave school 5 weeks early because of COVID. And then immediately I just was like, oh, okay, I'll be a content creator. It was instant. I did a video that I saw based off of a trend because I had an H2O tail. I was really obsessed with that show. And during that time, there was that one trend that was like, or Norclay, or the condensation. And I needed to hop in on that. And so the first video I ever did, it got like 5,000 views. And I remember the power I felt. I was like 5,000 views. Mind you, this is the first time I've ever had that. Because before this, I'd be lucky if I got 100 likes on an Instagram post, you know? Like, so 5,000 views on something was crazy to me. And so from there, I just said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And I just kind of learned everything I needed to know about editing immediately and just did it every single day. And I didn't have roaring success. Like some people did it and then 3 months later had 100,000 followers. I did it every day for a whole year and I only had like 10,000 followers. And hey, like that's still good. I'm still proud of myself for that. But I'm just saying, like, if that was the case now, I would have to be looking for a new career. Yeah, but basically, I just kept at it, and I eventually found something that people really liked, and I kept going until it got me to almost 200,000 followers, and then I pivoted, and that's just been my whole content journey, really, is just you find something that works, that people enjoy, and then once it dies down, you pivot and you find something else.
So you started on YouTube? Which platform did you start on?
No. Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot there's multiple platforms. I started on TikTok in 2020, and that was the thing. Like everyone was a TikToker. That was what I wanted to be too. And then at the end of 2020, I said, let me try my hand at YouTube. And I quickly realized that this was not the platform for me because it took me so long to make the video. And then it took me 8 hours of editing and it was atrocious. Like I just was not for me. And I got 70 views, I think. So I was like, okay, no YouTube. Come 2022, I start posting a little bit of my TikToks on there, and those are actually getting views. And so I decided to restart it and do reaction channel. And I was doing that a little infrequently. And then what really launched me was I wanted to leave my job. I was a barista. And so I was like, let me just put all my stuff on YouTube. So in case, because TikTok's always going under, it feels like there's always like a new, TikTok's gonna get banned or whatever. It's like, let me just put everything I have on YouTube so it's there as an archive. And I didn't do it because I was looking to build a following on YouTube. I just did it to have it for myself. And that was the key, like being ultra consistent with their new platform, Shorts. I did so well. So I went from having 500 subs to at the end of 1 week, 1,000. So 1,000 is what you need for monetization. And I swear 2 days later I was monetized because I had a video prior that gave me enough watch hours, and I already been on YouTube for years, which is incredible. Like, that doesn't happen. Like, I got monetized so quickly. And then from there, in the next 6 weeks, I was at 40,000 on YouTube. And now I'm at 848,000. So I'm working toward the million this year. But yeah, so I'm on that. I'm on Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook. But those three I just started this year.
I have another question. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm jumping in here.
No, you're good. No.
Ask me, yeah.
Because I've thought about, because of my, who I am, we're starting with a podcast. That's what this is. And I do have a Santa Corky YouTube also. But do I steer towards children, younger, or do I do Santa after hours? I mean,
I think for what you do, I think that steering towards children, because I mean, I've seen your posts and stuff, and while I know we're adults and sometimes we want to make jokes that are not exactly PG, on the whole, it's better off to just stay towards that. Also, it's better for brands. I mean, Joe knows this. Catering to kids is going to get you a lot more brand deals, just because, or not even kids, but like keeping everything that you do very all audiences.
Because mom will come on and have their kids watching while mom's on there too.
Yeah.
I mean, my age group is moms with children. I mean, that's my deal. But are there any more restrictions because of the age group that you deal with?
No, sometimes the only thing I deal with sometimes is I like dark humor. It's actually my favorite, which you wouldn't guess because I don't use it a lot. But I can't really make a lot of jokes like that because of my audience. So sometimes there's restrictions, but it actually kind of creates a creative challenge, because then I have to write jokes that go over kids' heads, but adults will get sometimes. And that's kind of fun. So it's not always a problem. Sometimes it's just a creative challenge.
Uh-huh. So, what is your routine? I want to know your routine, because you make a lot of content.
Santa wants the sauce. That's what it is.
What I do. Okay.
Yeah, Santa wants the sauce.
So, I mean, things, you get new random things that you don't expect every day. So my days are always a little different. Like today I had to do some edits on a video that I sent to another creator I'm collabing with, and I didn't expect to do that. So that kind of threw a wrench in my day. But usually I like to get up and be out of bed by 8:30. And that's not a hard 8:30. Like most days it's usually like 8:40. I'm not gonna lie and be like, yeah, I always get a minute. It just around that time. And then I go to the gym, and I always try to do my best at not being on my phone at the gym, because that's probably my one time of the day that I cannot be on my phone. It never happens. I'm always on my phone there, and I'm always thinking about what I have to do after the gym. So I think it helps me get through, honestly, because I'm not thinking about what I'm actually doing. And then afterward, I will come back, I'll have breakfast, and then I'll write 2 scripts. I'll film the scripts. I'll edit one of them and post it. So by this time, it's usually like 3:00. And then the other script, I will either edit and have it for tomorrow, or what I usually do is I just save that work till the next day. But again, like today's a really busy day because I have to make my YouTube video, and I also have 2 videos for TikTok. So it's going to be a little longer. Every day is kind of different, to be honest. Like, that's my ideal day, but most days I'm probably doing stuff till I go to bed at night. It's like I said, it's a sickness. Like, I can't turn my brain off. I'm always thinking about what's next, or like I'm always answering comments and that kind of thing. My goal is to work 4 days a week, only until like 6:00, but it's more always like 6 days a week, usually till like 7:00.
Right. So you're a one-person show. You don't have anybody helping with editing and all that stuff, because I couldn't do it without Michael, but my technical skills is what helps,
No,
and then I
that's
have
actually-
Joe as my think tank that we do together. So I have a team coming together.
Oh, you have a whole, okay, yeah. So you like everything, you have a team.
So that has been huge for me. And knowing that going into the future, that could be huge. But a one-person show, I just think of what more you could do if you had someone else helping you, but you would have to trust them to, you have to trust them a lot. And in other words, are they going to put out what I would put out? Or are they going to put out what they're
I
going to put out? You know,
I
are
do
they going
actually
to?
have an editor. I don't want
Oh,
people to
good.
think that I do all. I edit most of my videos. The only videos that I do not edit are my YouTube videos because those are much more time consuming. So what I do is my friend, my close friend, I pay him to edit all my videos, and he's very good at what he does, and he understands my humor. And when he doesn't, I can very quickly be like, "No, this was the joke," and he'll fix it for me. So we meet like once a week. We discuss what scripts we're going to do for the week. And then we are both on the same page. I'll film them. I do the preliminary edits. So I still have to spend like a good hour or so editing them myself just so I can cut out all of the air for him. So when he gets it, he doesn't have to put things in order or do any of that work. Yeah. And then he takes it from there. He posts it for me. He does the thumbnails for me. So at least the YouTube aspect of it, I don't have to do that. I couldn't. That's why I couldn't do it in 2020 because I realized I'm like, I could never be an actual YouTuber if I did this on my own. So that's the
Yeah,
only
yeah.
area that I do get help on.
Right, right. So where do you get your inspiration for your scripts? Because you have to be thinking, you know, you're in the middle of doing stuff, then all of a sudden do you get a pop? Oh, I just seen something I need to do something about. So write a
Wait,
script.
and let's add to that question. Where do you get your inspiration from, and how do you keep it going? So you push
Yeah,
out a lot of content, like,
Yeah.
boy, no,
and
yeah,
I've been able to work with you to see that sometimes you have too much, and it's you've never had a shortage of ideas, scripts, or content. So
Yeah.
how are you inspired, but how do you keep that? Like you have a pretty good like
Uh,
flow in terms of staying inspired.
it's kind of like I said before, it's just a sickness. It's what I do every single day. And so with anything, if you're a dancer and you go to dance class every day, you stay in practice, you go to the gym every day, you're going to stay in shape. And so for me, I'm always playing the game of what if. I'm like, oh, well, what if this person did this thing? Or what if this type of character did this? And then I kind of let it run from there. I usually will once a week sit down and I either go on live and I ask for help because they'll give you some ideas.
Yeah, they'll tell you
And
what they actually want to see. Yeah.
exactly. And they're not all great, but some of them are. And so I'll take some inspo from live, but also I feel like it's very easy because I just look at what's trending and then I will be like, okay, what could I do with that? What can I fit into whatever I do? Like anything that's new on Netflix, I'll try to make a sketch out of. And then I have series. So like now my new series, every movie about whatever. So then I just will watch movies and I'll be like, oh, this is the movie that these have a fake relationship tropes in this movie, or this movie has gender swaps, or this movie has a time loop. And so then I like take a bunch of movies that have these characteristics and then I make a sketch on that. And that's a well of content right there because there's so many movies in the world. So I think the way that I'm able to come up with things all the time is that I have specific templates that I just input new ideas into. So it's
There
like
you go.
POV, you're hanging out with this type of annoying personality. POV, you're hanging out with this type of fandom. Here's a sketch with a movie about this. Or sometimes I just will do random things. Like I'll put characters who are not supposed to be in things in a movie or a show. So I did like if Taylor Swift played Lucy Gray in the new Hunger Games movie. So they kind of just all spiral from there. But I used to when I started. I every day was a challenge because I was like, I don't know what to do today. I have no clue. Everything I had to do was coming from thin air. But now, because I have characters and things, like people love Horse Girl, I do Preppy Girl. So I just if I can't think of something, I just take them and I think of a scenario, and then it's pretty simple.
So with the recent Hollywood strike and a lot of your content having played off of movies, what was that like for you? You know, they hit influencers hard. Like if you promote any movie that's actively released or whatever their verbiage was, you can't be in the union and blah 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 blah. And so how did that affect you with your content, and then how did that affect you as somebody who may have bigger aspirations to be on a bigger screen than a phone screen?
So it was very annoying, actually. I mean, I know it was necessary, But yeah, like, cause all of my great brand, I mean, you know, all my great brand deals from last year were all from studios, and it was on this upward trajectory like I had never seen. And I was like, yes, yes. And then the strike happened, and then it all shut down. So for the later half of the like the latter half of the year, I was just relying on AdSense for my revenue. I wasn't really making anything from brand deals. But to be honest, it wasn't terrible because there's kind of loopholes. So I just don't do new content. If it's not a struck movie, I could still do it. Just because, you know, Warner Brothers made the movie doesn't mean I can't do something that was older. So I just kind of stuck to the older content that people know and love, like evergreen things. So, you know, Twilight, your Hunger Games, because that stuff, it wasn't what they're concerned about. They just don't want you to actively promote new things.
So I was with you during this moment, but I didn't realize how far ahead of a curve you were until I was starting to get on TikTok and I was starting to see more Barbie content.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were ahead of the Barbie curve with the stiff movement, where did that come from? Because I've noticed that when I ask creators, like, oh, what made you do this at this time? Is a lot of times it's not an accident. So, like, did you just start doing it, or did you know, like, this is going to be the Barbie trend, or this only makes sense? Because you were on that trend for like 2 months before the Barbie promo hit. And then Barbie's promo hit for like maybe a week and a half. And then the strike hit and said, you can't do anything. But there was like only 2 weeks of influencers doing hardcore Barbie content with pink cars and the stiff movement. But you have a lot of Barbie videos that were before that, that kind of upward trend. So
Yeah.
how'd you get there? Did you know about it? Like, did you know that the stiffness, how'd you get there?
I was psychic. I knew the strike was going to happen.
Yeah,
No, that's not what happened. So I'm just like a big fan of Barbie, and we knew Barbie was coming out for a while. And so when I saw that it was coming out, all I wanted is the strike really did. I mean, it screwed everyone over. It's all right. All I wanted was to go to this Barbie premiere. And more than anything, I wanted to go to the Barbie premiere. And so I was like, how am I going to get there? I'm going to make Barbie content so far in advance that by the time it reached that, like, I was the premier Barbie content creator and I had a really good shot of being invited to go here. And that did not happen because of the strike.
But I will say this, though. Had there not been a strike, that is what would have happened. Because you were so far ahead, and those, like, I was the one running your inbound. Those were starting to come in, so that's why I was seeing it take place with you. And because I was so close with you and not other creators who were doing Barbie or even paying attention to TikTok, I didn't notice that I didn't see it take off until after it took off and crashed. But by then, this is, me and you are going into month 3 of testing out Barbie. What if Barbie does this? Or what if you do this with Barbie? Or, so that would have happened. Now I'm a little bit more upset that didn't happen, knowing now that you thought and you knew that to be this strategic about that.
Yeah, I've also come to the realization that even if you have really great numbers on something, it's also about your followers, unfortunately, because also for like the Hunger Games movie, I wanted to go to the Hunger Games movie premiere so badly. There were so many creators that I knew who went, and I do Hunger Games content all the time. I'm always doing Hunger Games stuff. And I mean, not that I expected it, like, I just wanted some sort of Lionsgate deal or something like that, because I swear, like, all the content creators that I know were getting that, and even people who had less of a following, like, it was driving me up a wall. Like, I was so jealous. I'll say it. That's the one thing that about this job is you'll develop friendships with people, and obviously you got to follow your peers and things like that, and it's really hard not to get jealous of others. I always try to be like, be happy for other success. If they're my close friend, I'm always happy for them, but when they're like your acquaintance and things happen and you get to see them go to these premieres and stuff like that, it could be so gut-wrenching because you're like, I did the same thing. I put out so much content on the same thing that you put content on, but yours came out on top. It just is what it is. I'm at this point where I'm like, oh well, okay, so I didn't, but I can still make videos on it. I still made videos that did really well, even though I didn't get like invites to whatever. So yeah, the strike thing was kind of weird. But it's fine. Like, it is what it is, and I'm just glad that it's done with it. It needed to happen because I want to be an actor, and I really don't want to have to deal with like getting paid $180 one time, and then they can use my image in AI for perpetuity. Like it had to happen. It was frustrating, but it's okay.
So that's
that leads to a question I have then is what is your aspirations? Where do you go
I
from
was
here?
just going to ask
Very
that.
successful. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Joe, no problem. But you're considered a very successful in social media. I mean, when you get 800 plus thousand, almost a million subs, I mean that is like huge on YouTube. I mean that's the pinnacle of what most people think that's where they want to be. But I know as a creator, there's more, and there's just I know I'm capable of doing more. And so where's your future? Where do you see yourself? Where are you going to be?
So it's interesting because I always thought that I was doing content creation as a job so that I could get to the job I really wanted, which was being an actor. And now I've come to the realization that I have the job I really want, which is I am an actor every day and I get to make whatever the heck I want. So of course I'm like, I still go to acting school and I'm keeping up with that. And this year, like I'm focused on getting a representative. So then this way I can be actually auditioning for projects. But
You mean
I'm just really content.
an agent, representative?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, an agent, because I don't have anyone. I only have management for social media at the moment, and
Mhm.
my whole life I've just wanted to be an actor, and I just kind of love what I do. So for me, I also see other actors talk about it. Most of being an actor is being unemployed. You're just kind of waiting till your next job. It's probably one of the most inconsistent careers that you can choose. So for
Mhm.
me, I'm looking forward to actually getting to put what I've learned into practice on sets. But I also know that like it's not going to be something that happen or I assume it's not going to be something that happens often for me. So when it does, it's just kind of like icing on top of what I already do. Because for me, like my 5-year plan, if you ask me where I'd be in 5 years, I would like to have at least done some things, whether it's commercials or been in a movie or been in a TV show or anything like that, just because that's very fulfilling to me. That's what I've been working toward. But if you told me that I had like 3 million on YouTube and I was very successful doing like long form with a bunch of other creators who do comedy and I was doing like SNL type sketches with them, that would be excellent because that's like every day you get to wake up and have fun.
Right. And you have control over it at that point. You can do it or not. You're not under contract or whatever. So that makes sense.
And this sounds interesting, but it's the truth. What I love also about what I do is there's so much power in the way that I'm not desperate. Like as an actor, I feel like that's the hardest thing to overcome is you just want everything because you need it. And with this job, I don't feel that desperation anymore because I've always wanted to be on Broadway. And the reason why I decided that I just couldn't do musical theater anymore is because it's just filled with a room of desperate people who will do anything to get whatever they want. And that's not saying that everyone in musical theater is evil. That's not true. There's very nice people, but there's a certain energy that comes from a lot of people. And what's really cool about being a content creator is that like if I get an audition that comes up for like a really cool project, I can do it and forget about it because I already love the life that I have and I'm doing what I love already. So I just don't feel that need of like, oh, if I don't get it, it's like the end of the world. And not that I will never think about it, submit it and forget. But at least I feel fulfilled in my daily life that I'm not like searching for that one great role. I feel like I'm already in it.
Right, right. I can associate that because earlier I heard you say when you see your peers doing something great that you wanted to do or whatever, that you wanted to be a part of, and oh, I wished I would have got that. Being in the Macy parade is like the Santa's. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
holy
yeah.
grail. That's the holy grail to be, in the Macy parade and to be a Macy Santa. And so I get that when I see that. And I'm connected to several, there's 6,000, 7,000 Santas worldwide. And I see some of them doing some amazing stuff, amazing stuff. But you know what? They look at me going, wow, how did you do it also? So and I really enjoy what I'm doing a lot. And to be able to, I mean, you're so inspirational. I mean, absolutely inspirational. So if anyone out there, first follow us, yeah, and subscribe and make a comment in there. And we do read the comments. So please subscribe and follow what we're doing here. And especially with Emily and her inspiration, go look at her content too, and you can learn a lot about with what she's doing, and I'm sure you'll really enjoy it also. So anyway, thank you.
Great.
Well,
So
thank you.
now we get to get into the good stuff. I feel like we've talked about Emily that everybody sees all the time, but
Okay.
you are always in a character, so no one actually knows you. And so let's start there. What is it like being in character all the time? I remember some moments we would have is, okay, do we want your personality to come through more? How do we do that given, the audience without killing everything? And I've seen that you slowly through the year start to integrate more personality based content along with the skits. So one, do you ever get frustrated with the demand for characters and not being able to give yourself, or do you like that? And what's it been like since you have been giving more of your actual self versus these characters in the last year?
I love the fact that I'm kind of anonymous to what like people don't know. Because what I do is you don't really need to know me as a person. I'm not a lifestyle creator. I'm a comedian, and so if you get entertainment from what I do, it's okay if you don't know that I don't actually like push people in malls and like talk like this and blah, blah. Like that's totally fine. Like obviously it's all fake. It's all for your amusement, and I feel like I do have enough avenues now online where if you really cared enough as a fan, you're like, I want to know who you are as a person. I go on live pretty frequently. I am constantly every single day on Snapchat. I'm a Snap star, whatever those things are called. And so like I have to hit a minimum of 20 Snap stories a day. So I'm always, talking about whatever show I'm watching, whatever. So I'm very real on that platform. And then I usually like once a month or so, I'll do a vlog. So you'll get to see a little insight in my life. So I feel like I have a good balance now of like me as a person and then me as whatever thing that you know me as.
So all these questions are going to be very hard questions that may not even interconnect. We're just I want to get to know you right away. And I want this to be as personal of a conversation as possible. What's the hardest moment that you've gone through in your life or in your career that you've had to get it together? And like what was probably that moment for you where you're like, hey, if I didn't get my shit together in this moment, I was screwed, and I'm glad that I did get it together because I'm not screwed. So like what
Yeah.
were those hard moments for you in life? How did you
I say hard. I'd like to
get
say darkest. Your darkest times. Your darkest times.
Okay, so I know the answer to this. So it was in 2020. Because the thing is, whenever you start out on anything, it's just unless you're very lucky, you're not immediately successful at whatever you do. You have to put in a lot of time that you don't get rewarded back. And I just remember, I mean, no one was working. Everyone was at home. And so when it came time to like, okay, like now it's kind of the summer, like maybe you can find work now. I was trying to do everything I could to stay in the creative field. So I got this job like on this site called Bigo. I don't know if you know, it's like another live streaming site. And if you did 40 hours on there, they would pay you like, I think it was like $750. It was really small. But at the time, it was just like it was something to do. And so I was trying really hard to do live streaming and content, and I was just trying to make it work. And I realized I'm like, this is not going to happen at the moment. I'm still going to do it, but I have to find something else. And so I could not get a job no matter what I applied to. And I have a bachelor's degree. I thought like that might be helpful. Not at all. The job market is so hard. Even for like receptionist jobs, it was hard. So I finally found a minimum wage receptionist job that my mom's friend got me at a nursing home. And I had to quit after 4 weeks. I ended up staying 6 weeks because I had put in my 2 weeks notice. But it was just like the most sad, miserable experience. I wasn't even working long. I was working like 4-hour shifts just at the desk at night. But it was just so it's just so sad. Like no one's family could see them. There was like body bags coming through the lobby. There wasn't enough staff for the patients that was there, so it was like 2 nurses per 20 patients. You had really confused patients because a lot of them have something under like the dementia umbrella, calling and being like, where's this person, where's this, you had so many people calling the desk being like, I don't feel like my loved one's getting the care they need, and blah 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 blah. And like I agreed with them, I didn't feel like they were getting the care they need either. And so you just kind of have to be like this emotional sponge for everyone to throw all their grief at you. And it's you know, looking at it from the outside, it seems like it should just be an easy job. You just wait, someone comes in, you ask them to sign in, or you take calls and you direct them where they need to go. But it just wasn't like that. And I was, like I said, I was still really struggling to try to be creative, and I only had like 10K at this point, so I didn't really have a lot going for me. And I remember I took the longest break I ever took. I took 2 weeks off of social media because I was like, I don't even know what to do from this point. And so yeah, it was just so emotionally draining. And I was like, I even remember thinking, I'm like, yeah, it's only up from here. Like this is rock bottom, because I'm like, this is so sad, and I just know that whatever I end up doing in life, I just want to enjoy myself, because I don't want to find myself ending up in a place like this one day. Like I want to be surrounded by people I love. I don't want to be in somewhere like this. Not that content was going to do that for me, but you know what I mean? Like I just saw like the end, and I'm kind of at the beginning. So I'm like, let me just keep trying harder. Like it was a good motivator. So yeah, I got out of that. And then I got a job in coffee. And I remember it was interesting. I remember I got the job, and I've always been a person, I pride myself on this, I don't take BS from people. Like I'm very polite. I'll be as polite as you can, but like if you are going to diminish like acting or anything like that, I don't take that, because I know that actors are really hard workers. And so I remember when I got this job, I was like, I need money, but fortunately I'm living with my parents, and it was a barista job. And he asked me why I wanted it, and I was like, oh, like I'm good with people and it's close to my house. And he was like, that's not a reason, because it's close. I'm like, that's a very valid reason, having a job close to your house. And then he was like, so what do you want to do? They always ask you that, which drives me crazy. Like they act like nothing is good enough. Like whatever job that they're offering you when it's minimum wage, like can never be your end all be all. Like there always has to be something better, which is like, if you like coffee, you like coffee. Like I don't really see why that's a problem. And so I was like, well, I'm looking to be a content creator and an actor, and like probably move to LA. And he was like, kind of gave me the like, oh, okay, well, I mean, that could be a problem, because like, I feel like people in that field are a little flaky. And I went off. I was like, actually, we're extremely hardworking. Like, you know how hard it is to memorize for an entire play? Like how many rehearsals you have to? I'm like, I think that's a really incorrect stereotype. And he was like, whoa, whatever. He ended up giving me the job, and I did it, whatever. And again, I was just kind of, it was fine. I was a little miserable, and I just kind of trudged through until finally I got to my point. But you were saying, what's my darkest time? It's basically that. It's like when you just feel like you aren't a person to anyone, meaning like I always felt like I was going to be someone to myself. So I always had that like feeling of like, right now I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but I'm gonna get there. And so I never like let someone take that power from me. But the only time that I really was like, okay, I can't stay in the place that I am, was when I worked at the nursing home. I think I answered the question a little bit too far.
Oh no, that was a great answer. I just learned a lot about you, actually. Wow. That's interesting. I used to be a home health aide, so I completely
Okay.
understand. Yeah, so it wasn't during COVID, but I get it. My great grandmother, she was in the nursing home the last couple of years of her life, and that is tough. And it's tough to see death in the masses like that. Like, when body bags become normal, like that can be kind of triggering or jarring in and of itself, especially when it's your job, or especially when you may agree, like, hey, yeah, you're right, your loved one isn't being taken care of properly, but you also don't possess the power to do really anything about it,
Yeah.
especially during a time like COVID. So let's go back to The Boss,
Yeah.
because I the last job that I worked at, um, and this guy was being like, he was a musician, and I told him I was going to quit. I had these cool projects lined up, and I thought I was going to be doing something cool. And he's like, Joe, everybody comes in here with this shtick. They say that they're going to work this job for a couple months, and when they go to quit, they got this big thing lined up.
Mhm.
He says, you're probably going to fail. Like, long story short, just like everybody else, keep the job. And he was like, this is just how these things work. And he wasn't putting me down. He was trying to keep me safe.
Yeah.
But I took that as him putting me down. I'm like, yeah, fuck that. We're quitting. And I walked right out, and he wasn't wrong. All of those projects flopped, but I haven't worked a job since. So I know I've been writing that since too. So how did you feel like working that job? Like, I remember walking, like, with that being the last job that I worked, I walked in there miserable every single day, especially given that I was working at a music store and like helping world-class producers pick out their next keyboard, for
Yeah, yeah.
$8. So what was that feeling like when you knowing that, I'm working for somebody who doesn't necessarily, like, this boss wasn't going to help you get to your next step, you know? So what was it like being in that environment? Not that it was a bad environment, but
Oh, no,
that
no,
was
it was fine.
your interaction. And then what was it like when you had that, middle finger moment where you just left or quit, or, however you left, but you became
Um,
a
uh,
full-time creator.
yeah, I know what you're saying. So for me, I just, I feel like I always just worked 2 jobs. I always did content full time. I just had to have a job that actually paid me something. And I was very fortunate because I live with my parents. So really, if I wanted to, I could say like I had all that power. Like there was nothing that I had to do it because I had to make rent for this. So
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate that I've always had that in me that like it's never worth it if I don't feel like it's right. And I was making decent money there because it was like minimum wage plus tips. So on top of minimum wage, it was like it could be like $13 added an hour. So it was like $22 an hour, which was I was like, okay, that's great. And I liked what I did, and I made a friend. So it really wasn't all that bad, but it was nice because actually that wasn't the last job I had before I
Oh,
quit and did content. I'll tell you later. So I quit the barista job just because I just started YouTube and I realized, oh, I'm monetized. Like, let's ride this. It's same thing in the music store. It didn't work out. I did YouTube.
right.
Yeah, it didn't work out. I did YouTube for the next 3 months, and I was like, oh dang, like this isn't gonna cut it because I think I was making like $600 a month. I was like, yeah, I mean nice, but it's not gonna work. So I got a
Right.
job at a local restaurant, and I remember uh he was asking, it was like I was gonna be a host or something, and it was outside, and I thought it was an indoor thing. So I said to him, I was like, I just don't do outside. And he was like, oh, there's umbrellas or whatever, and they also could do catering, which you pay a lot. So when he said that, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. I don't want to do hosting, I want to do catering. And he was like, well, you have to work up to that. And he was like, all right, the job starts at 13, and 15 was the minimum where I went in New York to school. So when he said 13, I was like, oh no, thank you, I'm good, because that wasn't enough for me. And he was like, whoa, wait, what do you want? I said 15, and he was like, okay, we can make that happen. I always do this. Like if it's not to what I want, like even with my rent recently, I did that. I was like, oh, you're gonna raise it 100? Oh, can we do monthly? Because I'm gonna go somewhere else. And they were like, oh, well, we'll keep it the same. I always find that like if you push the power, usually you get what you want. So I did that then.
Emily, the negotiator.
Yeah. So
Really
I was
good.
gonna say,
I like that.
you've been using this word power a lot, and what's with you, and like, you seem to have a pretty good grasp of leverage. So you seem to have a pretty good grasp of leverage and what it means to have power of yourself. Like, you said, I didn't really care about the barista job. I had enough power to quit, didn't need it. And a lot of people, so like when I'm thinking about my last job, I didn't have that power. It took a lot of willpower to say, okay, I don't need this, and a lot of faith in God to say, hey, this is going to work itself out. Because my bank account was saying, hey, keep the job and go get another one. Parents are saying,
Yeah.
you need 2 more jobs with the way this music store is paying you. So, like, what was that like?
It's interesting because I experience this talking to a lot of my friends, whereas like they're always too afraid to speak to whatever powers that may be above them to get what they want. And it really is financial. I will say this. I am an amazing saver. I always have been. And so when it comes to, needing a job for money, I need a job for money, but I also got a savings account. And I've always been like this, even in high school. Like I've always had a savings account, and I've always worked, and I don't do anything to excess. So for me, I did that purposely because I know having your finances in order is power. Like people talk about it all the time, like financial freedom is power, because then you could decide where you want to put your time and not have to put your time, because I think that's the worst place you can put yourself in, is when you're doing it because you have to, not because you want to. And I have to say, there's privilege here, because not everyone has the good fortune to have great parents and can live with them. I know people who've had to like leave the house as soon as they're finished with school. So I have to say that like where that derives from, honestly, is a privilege, and that I am very grateful that I'm allowed to. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know where it comes from, other than the fact that I know exactly where it comes from. I am very in the mindset of like, I want to be as successful as a man is, and I always want what men do, and that's what men do. Like, men don't take BS where women do. They have to be like unfailingly play. That's why I love the Barbie movie. I didn't see the movie Barbie, and I was already making content on it. I'm obsessed with the Barbie movie, because of that, because it's just so true. It's like women really, really have to ask for what they want and like hope someone says yes to it. And then when you take that power, it's like, I'm going to get what I want. And if that doesn't work for you, then I will find someone else that it works for. It's like in, doing like brand deals too. It's like, okay, my budget is this. If that's not if your budget or my budget, they don't align, then that's okay. Then we don't like have to do this. I never felt, I even tell my friend this, because she's like, oh, well, they'll give me a free product. I'm like, no. Like, they'll give you a free product, and they'll also give you a payment because you're doing a job for them. And if they don't have the money and the budget for you, then you're not in their budget, and you move on to the next person, because most of the time they go, oh, wait, we can spare $100 to let you do, the product thing. Yeah. So I guess that's where it comes from. I just like feel this need to do everything that a man does.
And how has that been? Or what's the? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to ask my question. How's that? I want to ask how's it been going for you, but have you dealt with women who feel that kind of energy from you and get catty, or have you dealt with men who feel that energy from you and try to put you in a woman's place, or like what's that process been like? So I see my mom. My mom is a woman who works in a male dominated industry, and for the most part, she's always explained like, if you see me in this mode, it's because I have to be this tough, because I can't go be like your dad and smile. He's a man. He gets to be nice and everybody loves him. But I do what he does and I'm a bitch. And she has to keep doing it,
So
or
people
she
walk
loses her
over
job.
you.
Yeah, right. So like have you experienced that in with your mindset being a creator, or is it more so like because I feel like as a creator you get to pick or choose what you actually deal with as a problem. So like you could very well not deal with that by not surrounding yourself with bigots, right?
I was just
So
gonna say that.
how'd that go for you?
I think I've avoided that all my life, really, because the men that I'm surrounded with are all very what's I'm trying to think of the word. I guess they don't have that like typical perspective of like I'm your superior or whatever. I just have always been in an environment, because I went to school for musical theater. I'm just trying to, I went to
that environment
I
will
went
help.
to high school for musical theater, and then I went to college for musical theater. So I feel like I have never been in a situation and where I surround myself with men that I'm intimidated by. Like, we've all kind of been on peer levels, so I never really had to deal with that so much. I think that's why whenever I have to deal with people in a capacity outside, like for work, I get very intensely like, No, actually, because it's the only time I ever have to deal with it, and I'm like, no, this isn't the normal. I'm like, this is not how we speak to people. Yeah, I actually I have to say I'm pretty fortunate. I don't deal with it a lot, and especially in content, my stuff is for girls. I do not make videos
Yeah.
for men. I'm okay if like boys or men like my videos, that's totally fine, but they're usually like really chill, and they're not people who are gonna try to take me down a rung. And sometimes when like the wrong side of Instagram or whatever gets my video, I don't care. I just delete them. So fortunately, my demographics are like 90% women. So I just kind of surround myself with like empowering women, and my demographics kind of follow that. So it's not that big of a hurdle for me at the moment.
That's pretty good. And I think honestly, that's what I've loved to. That's what I've learned to love about being a live streamer and a content creator recently is you literally get to choose your audience, and you get to choose. Like, if you know what you're doing, you get to pick who you deal with, and you can not deal with mess. Like you can literally say, "Oh, I don't even see that anymore," because that's not what you're focused on, or that's not your community. So I 1,000% get that.
And I just want to clarify, this isn't me saying I hate men, and I don't feel that at all. There's so many lovely men out there. I'm just saying, like, the guys that are very, like, alpha male-y, or, like, just treat you like an object, those are the kind of people that I don't ever want to deal with, and I don't deal with. But I'm not saying actually, most of my friends are guys.
And I think some people feel they're victims because they surround themselves with those kind of people. But what you've done, you first of all put yourself in a savings account from very young to not have to settle, to not have to take a job that you didn't really want to do. And the other part of that is that you learn to ask for what you really want, and in time you found out I can ask and it's okay, which then you found out that you have options at that point. And then by surrounding yourself with the people that you have, is that you can weed out all the other stuff, and you do not have to settle for those kind of people in your life. And that is huge. When you have options, you've created your options. You're not a victim. You're a victim of your options now. You know what I mean? Now that's a weird way to say it, but now you have options. You can say, no, I don't want to do that job for that amount, because, so then they have their opportunity to go, oh, no, let's do it this way or that way. Where a lot of people have to take it and take it and take it because they put themselves in that position. You never put yourself in that position. That's powerful. That's absolutely powerful.
And I think it depends on the type of person you are too, because I guess everyone has this feeling that like we all think the same. So when other people don't, you're like, why is that your ideology?
Right?
Like, why do you think like that? And for me, I've always had the ideology of I just want to work for myself. I've never aspired to work for anyone. But you have to be, and I'm like always working on this. I'm not exactly there yet, but you have to be like really disciplined in order to do that. So a lot of people would rather be an employee of someone else because, while it is the ease of like, you are just here, that you're given your tasks for the day. Yes, you still have to work and do them, but you wake up every day and you have a routine, and you know that your bank account, like whatever salary you're going to get, that's what you're going to get. And you get that stability. I find more enjoyment in having to create that for myself and having to hustle for it, because there's nothing more rewarding than the work that you're doing directly coming back to reward you. But again, not everyone feels that way. Like some people prefer to work a traditional job, and that's okay too. Different things empower other people. For me, I love being self-employed.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up, okay, 3 more questions.
Okay.
So this is actually my favorite question to ask people in life. Normally I ask this to people who, like, I've asked Santa. Santa's actually probably the only person that's given me the best answer in the 4 years that I've asked people this question. And this isn't, so that I can help you, but this just lets me know what you actually want in life. So when you die,
Okay.
what is the world going to say about you? What did that dash mean in between the dates? What do we remember you as? Like, what's that? This is Emily. What is that? What are you striving for at the end of the day? What's the legacy you leaving behind, or that you're building to leave behind? We're still at the very foundation of it, but what is the foundation you're building?
For me, it's just if you had to like think about me and I wasn't here anymore, I just want you to think like, oh, like she was a fun person, genuinely, and a good storyteller. Like at all the dashes, I want it to be like content creator, actor, author, screenwriter, like any type of storytelling. Like I think about Betty White. You know what I mean? You just think about her and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
Betty White's great. Like she's so funny. Like if that's the kind of legacy that I want to leave behind, is just like, oh, like she contributed so much like humor to pop culture. Like she was fun. Like that's kind of it. I mean, it's different for your even my family. Like that's how I want them to remember. Be like, oh, she was so much fun. That's it. Yeah.
Emily, how old are you? How old are you, if I can ask?
I'm 25.
That just blows me away. And you work and you achieve and you think like someone that has 40 years behind them. It's just amazing. That is amazing. That's how you go, is like you've got 40 years of experience behind you and where you go. I can't wait to watch you just go and grow like you're doing. It's going to be absolutely fascinating.
Well, thank you. I still know I'm 25. Like there's still things I'm still figuring out taxes. All right. I'm still like, I just had to go from LLC to an S corp, and I don't understand anything. But I want to know. That's actually my least favorite part about being my age is I almost wish I was younger because to relate to my audience, but at the same time, I'm like, I wish I knew certain things because like now I feel like I have to condense it all so I can set myself up for the future. So I've just been reading all these books on like investments and finance and taxes because I'm like, what I see other people happen to them, I'm like, I don't want to retire at 70. Like I want to retire at 40, honestly, if I can.
That's not gonna happen. I've done a lot.
I don't want to retire, meaning, but I want to have enough in like my bank account where if I didn't need to work for 6 months, I'd be okay. That's what I mean. I don't mean like, okay, I'm never working again after 40. Because I always love what I do. I just mean like I want to be so set up because also I feel like I have to provide for my whole family. So I like that's why I'm trying to like build my empire as fast as I can so that when it comes time, my parents are okay and then they don't have to worry about it.
That's a good goal.
Last question. Love the answer. That actually makes a lot of sense. With you, like a Betty White, I can see that. Like I can see, how that answer. I think that's very befitting. Too naughty, too nice. All right, so give me a time where you were too naughty, and that could mean. So I learned that when I ask this question, especially to our female guests, that it didn't come across the right way. But too naughty meaning like, what was the time where you were just bad? Like, yo, I'm a fucking menace. And then too nice where you're like, all right, I'm too angelic at this moment. And some people don't have a too naughty, they have a too nice. And some people don't have too nice or too naughty.
Don't let her off the hook, Joe. Don't let her off the hook.
I'm just saying what I've learned, like I don't want her to get too stumped. But what's the time, give me times where you've been too extreme. And what was it like when you were too bad of a person, if you've ever been there? And what was it like being too good of a person?
Okay, so I mean this is a long time ago. When I was middle school, I was a menace. I was just too honest, and it was a problem. And I'd always felt remorse afterward. But I just remember being like, yeah, I did not have enough of a filter there. But then also, I guess I could think about myself in college, which was more recent, me being a menace. Sometimes I would talk about my friends or someone that I like associated as friends to other people, and like when they would talk about them in a negative light, I would lean into it. So that was me being a menace, and I don't do that anymore. I if someone talks bad about someone that I'm genuinely friends with, I'm not going to be that person that it's like, you can't say that I'm friends with them too. I just nod my head because I don't want to make the other person feel bad, but I won't say anything more to that effect. And I also don't tell other people's businesses to each other. So if I like talk to someone and I talk to the person that they're talking about and I know both sides of the situation, I don't swap their point of views to each other. I just stay in the middle and I nod my head. So that
You
was when
got an
I was
invisible
not.
Indian.
And then when I was nice, I haven't been nice in a long time. No, that's not true. I don't know. Is this a cop out? But I feel like I try to be as nice as I can every day. I went on the bus recently and this guy, oh my God, he had no respect for personal space. I'm like against the wall on this bus. And I even let him sit with me. There was a ton of seats open and he wanted to sit in the front. I was like, sure, you can sit with me. And he had his legs spread. And I was like, so uncomfortable, and I tried to like I didn't want to hit him, but like I tried to like put my leg close to so that he can feel like, hey, I'm right here and I don't even have enough leg room, like maybe let's move over. And he didn't the entire time, and I just took it. And I was nice because I could have been so nasty because I was so mad, but I just was like, okay, I'll just be uncomfortable this entire trip. But I really wanted to whack his leg, but I didn't do it, so I was nice.
Well, that leads me to a question I would like to ask is what do you believe in? What's your spiritual walk? What's your what motivates you? What do you look for?
That's actually the question.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the question. Yeah, we warmed you up for the last hour to ask this question. That's
Last
the real
question.
hard.
Okay. What do you believe
Yeah.
in? I'm gonna be honest. I don't have a religion-based faith because, well, I don't like to talk about religion because I just don't think it's anyone's business to know like, what my religious beliefs are or anything like that. But I'll just say this: it's not for me. And yeah, obviously everyone has those thoughts of death. I think about death every single day. In fact, it's bad. Like every day, it's always coming to my mind. And obviously, it's like, oh, what's next? And I just think of it like this: I don't know. But I know that whatever it is, I'm sure that if I live my life trying to be the best person I can and trying to do right by people, and I'm here to make my parents proud. I'm here to make myself proud. I'm here to enjoy myself, and I'm here to uplift others if I can. And whatever that totals at the end of my life, wherever that sends me to, it's just not my business to worry about. So I'm like, be the best person that I can, and hopefully something good happens.
So you would attribute, a lot of people have morals that they go by, but you would attribute, it sounds like, a lot of your goodness, kindness, you're wanting to do good in the world to how your parents raised you, right?
Well, the way that I see it is, I just think if your motive for wanting to be morally sound in the world has to do with you wanting a reward of going to some afterlife, that's not actually you wanting to do good in the world. That's you wanting whatever reward. And again, like, I don't hate on whatever faith, but I also see that it's used as a way to control other people, and there's a lot of hateful things that come from it. And so that's why when it comes to religion, I just stay away from it, because I think it's important to believe in something, to have faith, that there's a certain comfort that brings you. But that's not where my morals come from. It just comes from the idea that you should do right by others because that's the right thing to do, not because that's the right thing to do to get to some great place. But like, again, I don't hate on people if they have their religion, if that brings them comfort. That's their thing. I don't subscribe to a specific religion.
So when you say you don't subscribe to a specific religion, that reminds me a little bit of one of our recent guests, Danielle. She said that she believes in a little bit of everything. So So for you, is it like, do you take in knowledge? You know, are you a researcher of things and you just come up with your own conclusions, or is it just like really a out of sight, out of mind kind of situation for you when it comes to, you know,
Um,
reality and spirit? You know, like, do
yeah,
you,
I see. I
you know how you have an open mind, but you keep it to yourself. Like, are you one of those, or for you, is it just like, not my thing at all?
Yeah, no, I actually am fascinated by religion, but I call it mythology.
Okay.
I look at it as like a historian would look at it. And so I see that all religions kind of come from the same story. They just have different ways of practicing, but really, like, they're all very similar. And for someone to say that
Mhm.
their God or whatever they believe in is, you know, the real one and this one isn't right, I think there's a lot of commonality there. And so I just don't, yeah, I think I believe in a little bit of everything. Um, but you know what? And that's a lie. Actually, I don't think I believe in a little bit of everything. I don't. I can't. I'm trying to be respectful. I just, yeah.
Well, I shouldn't have said it like that, but so that's how she said it. That made me know that she, you know, looks into other, you know, religions, spiritualities, at least for research and, you know, to be knowledgeable or just to, you know,
That
keep
that
an
I
open
do.
mind. Yeah, so that's more so what I was getting at is, do you at least, are you a person that will, you know, research information for the sake of it being information?
Yeah. So where I'll end it like this. So I am really, really big into history. And historically, religion has done so many horrible, so many wars, just like so many atrocities. Well, there's these great miracles and whatnot, but I just, because of the history and how much hatred it has created between people, because of that, I say I'm out. Because I just don't feel like anyone adheres to the religion that they're speaking on. And it just gets so twisted. I just see so much hatred there more than I see the love that it's supposed to proclaim, that I just stay away. It's just, it's not for me. And I see people who are very religious. I know a lot of very religious people, lovely people. But yeah, it's not for me. There's probably some higher power. But like, yeah, I'll just go with that. It's not out of mind. It is out of sight. And I just kind of have to accept the fact that I don't know, and that's okay. I don't have to come up with the conclusion based off of what is given to me, because it's one of those things that no one will ever know. And you can tell me that, oh, it's true because of X, Y, and Z, but you don't know that because you've never been there. So it is
Still
just, it is what it is.
lovely. I like that. Trump or Biden? No, I'm just, do not
Oh
answer that
God,
question.
I can't. I
No,
mean,
no,
yeah,
I was
I
just
can't go
because
into that. I even try
yeah,
hard not to
I
go into
stay,
religion.
yeah, I stay away from that. That was a joke. Lovely podcast, everybody. This was Emily Fitzgerald. Go ahead and give them your socials. I'm all out of questions. You know, Santa kind of that was the bomb right there. So Santa, I'll let you close us out, but Emily, go ahead and give us your handles, how to find you, and Santa, you can
Everyone's
wrap
gonna
it
think
up.
I'm an atheist now. They're gonna be like, "She's
Right.
she's an atheist." I'm like, no, just don't.
No,
I just
what,
don't
don't
subscribe
even
to
put
his
that
religion.
judgment on there because don't even put that judgment on yourself because it doesn't matter because you're not. You're really not. You're a very
Yeah,
spiritual
no,
person. You really
I
are.
know, I'm not. That's very different.
Yeah.
Okay, so hi guys. My handles are on TikTok. It's at Real Emily Fitzgerald. On Instagram, it's at Real Emily Fitzgerald. On Facebook, I think it's at Real Emily Fitzgerald. I think so. You can find me on anything just typing in Emily Fitzgerald. On Snapchat, I'm Emily Fitzgerald or Real _ EFG. And then on YouTube, I'm just Emily Fitzgerald. And then I think my handle is like Emily Fitzgerald YT. So it's just my name on anything.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Emily. This has been fascinating once again. Like I said, I can't wait to watch you go and go and go. It's going to be such an honor to know you. And I thank Joe for introducing us because I was able to do a little skit with you, and that was really fun to watch you work. It was amazing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you for bearing with me. I was a dictator that day because we had a time crunch, and I was like, no fun at all. I'm like, get the line in, okay, and go. And I'm usually not that bad. So maybe next time we work together, you'll get to see the
I
more
hope
fun
we get that
side.
I hope I get that chance.